My name is Jennifer McFatridge, and I am a instructor in math and sciences. I actually teach physics. I don't teach programming, so please excuse my programming. I'm sure all the programmers will be like, oh, that's awful. Okay, but okay, bear in mind, I'm not a programmer. I am a physics teacher, and so it's probably not going to be the nicest code that you've ever seen in the universe, but that's okay. Okay, this is like code I think that anybody can do. All right, um, so you've already seen a couple of things that I do that I use to increase participation, to help out and have students interact with me. Okay, so one of the things is, have a discussion. Now, normally what I would do in this sort of discussion is, instead of having me talk and type, what I would do is I would have the students join a breakout session. Okay, so let's talk about that. All right, so it doesn't necessarily have to have Python, but what are some things that we can do, right? I read you talking about my code. I've tried a little bit of documentation. You can actually see I'm probably not that great at it. All right, so what are some of the things that you've done to increase participation? So so I've shown you a couple of things, so you can have a little quiz. Okay, so you have like a little or a game. And one thing I would do if I was having a discussion like this, normally what I would do is I would have a breakout session. Okay, you could have a whiteboard session. Okay, what else? Is there anything else we've done to increase participation in our Zoom session, or just to help students with right? So responses. Okay, ask or questions. Ask questions in chat. Okay, so and polls. Very good. Um, and for sure, definitely right. Addressing the participant by name. And that's actually really good. So one of the things that I do is, when I do a breakout session, um, I name each of the participants that are going to the breakout sessions, and I ask for a specific student. Can you tell me what's going on here? Right. Maybe we should try this in our meeting. So talk story. Okay, for sure. Students love this talk story. I also do another thing. I also give little virtual tours. So, for example, what I did was I said, okay, um, I uh, I asked the students, hey, let's do this physics problem. And the point of the physics problem was to figure out the tension in the rope. And so what I did was I said, hey, let's go to Home Depot website, and I want you guys to find a rope that will be able to hold this load. And so we had a little virtual a little virtual tour. And so what I noticed was there's actually a lot of things that you can do in Zoom that you can't really do as easily in your regular classes. So actually, there's a lot of opportunities to do things. All right, so what I did was, actually, I've not seen that, but Kahoot, I will. Um, oh yeah, that's actually good. Right, so Google Maps. Google Maps. All right, so right, demos are good too. Okay, so there's a lot of things that we can do. And what I want to talk about in particular is logging what we've done. Okay, so here is a participation count that I did in class. So take a guess. Okay, I've kind of cut off the names of the students for privacy reasons, obviously. Which of these students do you think got an A? This is just a one class, and I showed you. I'm showing you the number of times they participated in chat. Okay, so So definitely these guys, you see these the ones that participated a lot. These are definitely my A student. Which one of these do you think probably failed my class? These guys right here, right? Okay, not all of these are the fails, the students that got an F, but the ones that are not even talking at all, right? Or not even here. Okay, so this is showing, this is my entire roster here. So I can see actually really early. So I can see on the very first day who is here in class and who is not participating, just by counting the number of participants. Okay, so let's go through some Python things that we can do. All right, so let me go ahead and switch. I'm gonna stop sharing and switch to my other screen here. So, so here is a Python file. And I'm not gonna go through everything here, but I'm going to show you the result at the end. Actually, let me redo this one. I'm going to restart this. Okay, so this is Jupyter Notebooks. I actually don't know why I'm okay. It was running just a second ago. Okay, hold on. So this index out of range. Okay, so hold on. Let me just go back to my file here and see what I did. Okay, I think I just edited the file and made a mistake. Okay, there we go. So this is because I edited the file at the last second. Okay, so normally what I would do is I would save the chat. Okay, so if you go to Zoom, you'll see there is when you are in the chat, there is a save chat. So you see the ... in the chat. Normally, there would be a save chat option. And for whatever reason, it is not showing up for me right now. So I don't have that chat save option. Okay, but if you see the Z, the chat, there's a little ... where right next to the file. Okay, and yeah, so it saves automatically. Okay, if you are recording, it saves automatically. But if you hit the ... and you hit save file, so save the chat, what it does is it actually saves it as a separate file, and you can read that file right away. Okay, so the file that is saved is called meeting save chat. Okay, now there's actually a lot of different kinds of ways, Python runners. You can actually use a lot of different kinds of yeah. So PyCharm is actually a nice thing. They also have you can also use um, Spider. Um, but anyway, okay. So this is Anaconda um, Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so actually to get this, the easiest way to get this is to just go to Anaconda and just download Anaconda, and that will have all this stuff in it. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of the things here. If you guys, I will actually, if you put your email in the chat, I will actually send you this file so you can use it yourself. Okay, so I just wanted to point out a couple of things that are really nice for looking at the chat. And these are regular expressions. Okay, so regular expressions, RE, NumPy, and pandas. These are nice little things. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to copy the folder where you have your chat saved. Okay, so copy that. I'll show you what the folder looks like here. Let me show it to you right here. Let me share the... Okay, so you see here you have your Zoom file. It's empty because I moved it to my cloud saving. I have it nice and fresh for this semester. Okay, so normally you would have all of your Zoom folders here, and you would have, in there you would have your recordings, it would have chat, and it would have this file called meeting save chat. And what you want to do is you want to get this folder. Okay, so just copy and paste to here. Okay, so it's going to read this exact folder. I found that was easier than moving this file around. So just copy this entire file directory and put it here, and it will read the chat. Okay, so one thing we could do with that is we could run this. We run this, and we can get a results of the quiz. Okay, so the quiz that we did at the very beginning, I could see like what is the result from the class. So this would
Jennifer,
be.
I'm not sure I'm seeing what you
Oh,
intend for us to see. I'm still
oops, sorry.
seeing your folder on your
On the wrong
desktop. I don't
share.
know where you pasted it. I don't know if you're doing something in Python.
Sorry, I am on the wrong share. I have too many windows open here. I'm going to close this other one. Okay, so again, uh, you're going to copy your file directory right here. Okay, and you're going to put your meeting chat right here. Okay, so we're just opening this folder, and then we're going to read it. Now this part I'm not really going to go over, but basically what this is going to do is it's going to split, and I know all of you guys programmer guys are like, oh yeah. I'm just going to split all of them into various regular expressions, right? I'm going to split it into like the name and whatever message. Now, if you want to, and you guys are programming guys, you can modify this and just you can also get the timestamp. So if you're like, who answered first? Who answered within 5 seconds? Of course, you could do that as well. Okay, but if you look at the file, you can split it up. And I noticed the newer version of Python, not Python, but the newer version of the Zoom session is adding to everyone to the name. So I got rid of that as well. So I added this code here. Okay, so this is obviously me testing it myself, so that's why all of the names here are me. Okay, but if I wanted to, I could match up who said what response with this. Okay, so I'm going to. So you guys, those of you guys that are not really that much of a programmer, you guys can just grab this, and it will tell you who said what. Okay, but this particular program, its whole point is just to plot out what was the response. Okay, so I can check what responses there were. And so maybe this quiz question, most people said B. All right, so I use matplotlib. Again, you don't need to really know everything here. You can just run this. Again, you just run this in Anaconda and you can get this. All right. Okay, so so this again, all you have to do is hit restart and run all, and it will run and find this part here. Okay, so again, all you have to do is tell it which where your file is. All right. Yes, it works if it's a capital versus small letters. Yes. Okay. So yeah, can you see here? Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so if you're going to use this file, all you have to do is change this and hit kernel restart, and it's going to look for that. Okay. I also have a thing where you could ask multiple questions and keep going. And what you want to do is type a little asterisk if you want to separate questions. So type this, and oh, sorry, I had to do everyone. Okay, type a little asterisk like this. Okay, and what you can do is you can actually ask multiple questions here. Okay, so that's one thing that I do that I can read the chat with that. But the other thing that I did was I made a participation counter. And again, if you do have your name, if you have your email in the chat, what I'll do is I'll just send this to you. Okay. All right. So this is a participation counter, and I actually have commented out a lot of these things here. You'll want to actually uncomment these so that you can see what's going on. Okay, so this is very similar. Again, you just tell it what folder your chat is in. Just copy your chat here. You can use either, if you have automatic recording, you can put chat instead of the meeting save chat. The meeting save chat is just if you hit the ... and hit save. Okay, so this one is going to give you a little bit more information. Okay, so this is a participation counter. So what this does is it allows me to see who is talking in the chat. how many times did they talk in the chat. And it allows me to create a gradebook entry so that I can post it into Laulima. All right, so again, I'm not going to go through too much of this. Again, I'm just doing regular expressions here. But here's where it kind of gets you interesting. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to now match this with my gradebook. Okay, so to match this with my gradebook, I need to go to Laulima. Okay, so so can you all see my Laulima um, file here? This is one of my Laulima classes. Everyone can see this, okay? Yes, no, in the chat? All right, okay, very good. All right, so what you want to do is you want to go to your gradebook. Okay, if you don't have your gradebook active, make sure you go into your site info and you can manage tools and make sure you have your gradebook. And gradebook is a really nice thing to tell students, what their grades are. Okay, so you're gonna go into gradebook and you want to go into import grades and download a template. Now I use Excel, but if you don't have Excel, you could use CSV. Okay, so you want to do that, download that, and what you're going to get is, let me show you what you get. Oh. Okay, so you're gonna get something like this. Now, again, I've kind of made these columns very small so you can't see the names here. Okay, so you're gonna get something like this. Okay, so this is your roster, and this is going to tell you, who, what the names of all your students are. Okay, so what you want to do with this is you want to make another column here, and actually, you want to make a new file. Um, Actually, let me just leave this one. But you want to make a file and you want to have actually, let me just edit this. Oh, sorry, I just, oh no. Okay, sorry. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to make a new, sorry, I don't want any of these names to show. But anyway, what I want you to do is make a new column, and you'll see this with your students. And now I'm just going to change this. And I want you to put the names of the students here. So for example, the students are not necessarily going to have their names like um, in their in their Zoom profile. So instead, you might see something like iPhone, or maybe the student will be like just Jen or whatever. So maybe you would say something like Jen. Okay, so you'd have their name here, and maybe this is like Bob. Okay, so you would put what they have, whatever they have, their names in the Zoom session. So what we want to do is we want to match the names that they have in chat to the names in the roster. So we need a file that does that. Okay, so all right. So once you have that, you can then go to okay, so we got that from Alima. Okay, so then once you have that file, you're going to put that here. Okay, so this is just going to have, it's going to have the name and it's going to have your alias. Okay, so again, you can have two aliases, but I would recommend at least two because students change their name. Okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to check what is the names of all the participants. Okay, and it's going to check it up against my roster. And when I do that, okay, so I can check to see then what did each of them say, and like how many times did they do that. And I can then now export this into an Excel file, which unfortunately is underneath this, so I can't show the code, but I can show you the result. Okay, so let me show you the result. Okay, so the result looks like this. Okay, so again, squish the names of the students here. So I can output this to an Excel file. And so you can see I have this. This is exactly matching up with my roster. And so now I can put this in my gradebook and I can import this into Laulima. Okay, so to import this into Laulima, you're gonna go to your Laulima, and you can just go into your gradebook items and you can import gradebook items from spreadsheet. So you can upload a spreadsheet to the loading dock, and then you can just grab the column that you just made and you can stick it into Laulima. Okay, so the point of this is that you can see very early who is not participating. So if you need to make a report that's like uh, this person is not present in class or not doing anything in class, you can immediately see, this person, maybe needs to have an email sent to them. Okay. This also can tell like which students are maybe not engaging. And again, you might just call their name in class, right? You can look at this right away and you can say, okay, John Doe, can you tell me what you think about this topic, right? So let's go and look at this. So here I'm using something called pandas. And if you guys have not tried that out, I would recommend using pandas. Okay, so you can read an Excel file. And again, I'm going to send you this file so you guys can play with it. What I would like you guys to do is just go grab one of your files. Go to your Zoom files. Okay, you guys have recorded it. So you probably have some chats right now where you have it listed. Um, if you're using CVS, it's actually really easy. Just change this to read CVS instead. Yeah. So, and then you put your CVS here, right? So I'm using Excel, but you guys can just change this to CVS. Actually, I'll put a little comment here. I'll put a little edit here so you can put the same thing in CVS. All right, so when you guys get the file, you'll see comma separated values, CSV, comma separated values. So you can also read CSV. Okay, so I recommend just trying this out. I'll give you guys this file. You guys try this out with one of your old Zoom files. Again, all you have to do is put their folder right here. Okay, so we're gonna open the Zoom folder. It will actually tell you what date it's in. Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's a great place to look is the pandas. Again, I'm using pandas to make this all into a nice little organized chart. And then NumPy is used to make a little plot of this. Okay, I should have actually just edited so it wouldn't have the name. But anyway, yeah, so actually it's really easy to put this in a graph because you can just, once you have it in pandas, okay, so actually let me show you how I did this. So once I have this in pandas, so I'm reading the alias and I created this roster here. Okay, once I have that in pandas and I'm checking the participants versus my roster. Once I have that in that, it's actually really easy to plot. You actually just say roster plot and you tell it what kind of graph you want. So you can make it, scatter graph if you want. And so this one is going to show me like my students on the x-axis, the number of times they participated. Okay. So, okay, so that's what I do with my participation, and so this allows me to actually not have to call roll at all. All I need to do is I need to tell my student, okay, you need to say something in chat at some point in the lecture. And I usually try to, that also kind of forces me to put something in there that they're going to have to respond to. Okay, so for example, a quiz, uh, discussion, um, or even just say here, so I have to have something in there, and that kind of forces me to design the course so that it's doing that. Okay, but again, I don't want to get too deep into the regular expression. If you guys want to, you can modify this, I'm sure. But anyway, let's actually go back to my PowerPoint. Um, all right, um, so these are the two things I do in Python. I check to see like multiple choice, what kinds of responses am I getting? Uh, it seems very involved, but all you have to do ahead of time, just write down the folder, just hit run, and it will tell me what the responses are. And at the end of the class, again, you just hit run, and it will tell me what the participation count is. Okay, some other things that I thought might be interesting for you guys to know is if you guys don't know about breakout rooms, I would recommend you turn on your breakout rooms. Okay, so breakout rooms are actually really handy. You can find them in your advanced settings. Just go to your advanced settings and turn on your breakout rooms. If you haven't tried it, I would say give it a try. It's a really good tool for students to talk to each other. Um, And so I showed you a screenshot of this is normally how I would do it. So normally, I don't know why it's not working in this chat. Normally I would actually, I could actually see who's doing what in the chat, but right now it's not working, I guess because I'm not the host. Okay, so normally you'd be able to save the chat, and this will give us that file that we can read. Um, yeah, so here's how it would normally look in my Zoom folder. It would be, so here the chat, this is our automatically saved chat if you're recording, and the meeting save chat. The reason why you want to do meeting save chat is because if you're doing like a quiz and you want to know right away what's the, what is the class saying, you want to read the chat right away, this chat is only produced at the end of your session, versus this one is whenever when you hit save, if that makes sense. Okay, wait, I don't know why, but okay, there we go. um Yes, you should be able to join. In fact, actually, you want to, if we can, we could actually do it right now. So I do have an option to make a breakout room right now, so we can actually try that. You guys don't have an option, but because I'm a co-host, I have the option to create a breakout room. Okay, so it will be under more. Okay, if you hit the dot 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 and your where it says mute start video, so it'll have more. And again, you have to update. You have to create the settings. So where it is, it's under your settings, and you do have to turn it on. It's not on by my. Yeah, if you're the host, um, you can turn this on. Well, okay. First, you have to have the settings in your profile. Okay, if you're the host of your own Zoom session, you should have under more. So the dot dot dot, it says more. There should be a little section for breakout room. Okay, but right now, if you're not the host, you won't see it. Okay, but I could send you into a breakout room. So I'd send you into a breakout room right now, and what you would see is you'd have a invitation to join. Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to actually close the room. I just wanted to show you how that would look. Okay, so you can join the J breakout room, and what that does is you can say I want 5 people in a room, 2 people in a room. It's actually a really good tool to um, help each other. Okay, so to talk to each other. So sometimes what I do is I have students go and maybe do a homework problem, right, in their breakout room, and then come back and see if they can explain how it was done. And I do it really old school, you know. I just have students show me their work on their camera. So they just hold up their um, their paper to the camera, because a lot of times it's not something they can type. Okay, so we're all back in the main room now. Okay, so okay, so does everyone understand what I mean about the breakout rooms now? Kind of. Okay, so I would recommend that as well. That's another thing that you might want to try. Okay, so again, this is where the chat file is. And this is the basic idea for the participation counter. This is the steps. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is get a copy of your roster. Okay, you need to make a column for the aliases and then save to, so this is done in the program. Okay, so the program will save the output participation file, and then you just copy that column to your gradebook and then upload the gradebook to Lalima, and it will automatically just go in your gradebook if you want to. If you want to make it in your gradebook, you don't have to, obviously. You can just use it for information purposes. Okay, so are there any questions about, actually we can even go back to some of these other things, like some of the other things that we did. Are there any questions about how to use the participation counter or anything you wanted to know about it?
So all the setup for this stuff really is like a one-time deal, and then you just rerun it with different folders or.
That's right. That's right. So once you've set up your roster and you know what this, so you know, some students will name themselves like, you know, hot dude 123 or something, you know, right? Once you've set up their alias, so you know like what their chat name is, and you can compare that to your roster. Like once you have that, you just hit run and it will count the participation. Yes, so you do need to have some kind of something that would in that you have Python. So what you would need to do is you need to get, so I have it in a notebook. The reason I like the notebook is because it immediately tells me feedback, like this is the graph right away, instead of like opening a window. It just faster if I use a notebook. Okay, so let me actually show you where you can download the notebook folder. So I wish there was a better way to switch between windows. um, okay. Okay, so I would go to Anaconda. Okay, so I would grab Anaconda. It will have all the things you need in it. You don't need to do anything other than just get Anaconda, and you can just grab their just download the so just get the free one. Yeah, this one. Okay, so this one already has a lot of things like regular expressions. It already has pandas in it. It has a lot of tools in it already. So it already has NumPy. So you don't actually have to import any of those libraries. It already has all of those libraries. So I would recommend getting Anaconda. So I use Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so you'll see that as a Jupyter Notebook. I can actually edit that and make it into a, I can actually save it as a regular Python file too. I remember, I think it's, where did it go? I've done it before, but I don't, yeah, so you can actually save it as you can save it as a regular Python file. So if you don't like Notebook, okay, Jupyter Notebook, you can actually run it as a regular Python file in whatever Python editor you prefer. But I'd recommend Notebook because it tells you like right away, like if something goes wrong, like immediately I have I know exactly where it went wrong. Like it immediately tells me. And so here, again, I would just uncomment this, and you can actually see the Excel file like right here. You can see the roster. You can actually see it right here. Like you don't have to do anything else. Just have this. Just say the name of the variable, and it will immediately tell you. Let's see if I have a. So for example, if I wanted to display count, that's how many. It's counting the number of um, participation. I can actually just write the word count, and it will actually already tell me how many each person, how many things each person said. Okay, now actually, this is reading the chat, and it's not counting the zeros for students who didn't say anything in the chat here. You have to look it up again, match it up against a roster, but this is the raw count of comments. Any other questions as far as how to get this running? Yes, pandas is just it is a it's like an Excel for Python. That's probably the best way to say it. It's an Excel for Python. But yeah, you don't actually have to set this up in at all. You just have to download Anaconda. It's like once you have Anaconda, you have pandas. So you actually don't need to do anything here other than just put your file name in here. Any other questions? Is there a program to assess the quality? Well, what do you mean by quality? So I can check. So like, for example, in the multiple choice one, I actually only check for the first letter. So I check for the first letter. But it can't really. I mean, I suppose you could do like machine learning. You know, if you could define what is good quality and bad quality. This is just going to look at like how many things they said, right? And it's not like the best indication of like how much interaction you have, but it's at least one metric you could use for interaction. Okay, so that's kind of all I wanted to talk about. I wanted to say like what kinds of things we could do with Python. I mean, obviously there's a lot more things you could do here, but because it's just a text file, like you can read it and you can do a lot of things with it. And so I've played games with it. So you know, if I like just look at what are the results of so it doesn't even have to be like ABC. It could be like short terms as well. And you could play games with it. You could have you could play like you could figure out who's the first person to say something, for the first person to say the answer. You can you play like a hangman game, right? So there's all kinds of different things you could do with this. But all you need to do is just read the chat. And that's actually something that Python does really, really well. Okay, so that's actually all I wanted to talk about here. Unless there's any other questions, we'll end it here. Any other questions? If you, again, just want to set this up, just go to download. And if the host, if you could send me a copy of the chat, because I can't save it for some reason. If you could send me a copy of the chat so I can send people the code so that they can use it. That would be nice. Okay.
Will do.
All right. Thank you guys for coming. And hopefully you learned a little bit about like what you can do with Python in your class.